McLaurin doesn't have a deal, not close to a deal. The two sides disagree.
Terry McLaurin has reported.
It's tough, but it's the business right now, and just trying to take things day by day.
They've got to get their best receiver signed and happy.
Terry McLaurin has requested a trade out of Washington.
At this point, I don't get the sense that Washington is even entertaining the idea of trading.
This has to get done. Let's come together. Let's go. Let's try to win a Super Bowl.
We welcome you to NFL Live. Hello, everybody. Jeremy Fowler's in here with me. We got Mina Kimes and Bill Barnwell here for the hour. By the way, the Commanders face off against the Bengals in a Monday Night Football preseason game coming up in just a few days. So we'll be talking a lot about Terry McLaurin. But let's start in Washington today. 3 weeks until the official start of the season. Still no deal for McLaurin as he and the Commanders can't seem to find common ground. Cliff Kingsbury, the offensive coordinator, spoke earlier today, was very candid about the importance of having his star wideout on the field. Listen to this.
I'm huge on walkthroughs, on practice, things like that, because until you get on the grass and actually do it and feel the timing, feel the depths of routes and things of that nature, I don't know exactly how much you can get out of that. So I think we're kind of at that point to where we need to start getting those guys when they're available out there and gelling and seeing what we are as an offense.
He's like, I need my guy. Jeremy, what more can you tell us about where the contract talks stand right now between McLaurin and the Commanders?
Yeah, Laura, from what I'm hearing, there's still a pretty sizable gap in how they see the wide receiver market. Washington's down here. Terry McLaurin's pretty high up here. I'm told the players dug in, remains frustrated. Not a lot of traction on a trade right now, even though I do know there are some teams that are interested or have at least called. But right now, I'm told Washington does remain optimistic in this. Despite some of the smoke around all the issues and him still out of practice, they feel like when push comes to shove, closer to week one, they can reach some sort of compromise. It's probably not going to be a situation where he plays out the year in his contract and plays the franchise tag next year. Like, he needs some sort of contract. They're hoping they can find a sweet spot here, but they're sort of waiting each other out. And meanwhile, this could get ugly.
Yeah, and again, as we said off the top, we're just 3 weeks away. Bill, how different does this Commanders offense look when Terry McLaurin isn't on the field, if, God forbid, we end up in that situation?
Yeah, certainly Washington fans hoping that doesn't happen, but there was a meaningful drop-off last year when Jayden Daniels did not have his star receiver on the field. A 73.1 total QBR with McLaurin on the field. That dropped to 63 without Terry McLaurin in the lineup. And I think Cliff Kingsbury's point here is really important because it means even if these two sides do come to an agreement between now and the start of the season, it's not like Terry McLaurin's going to be, fully featured and functional in that offense. He might not be playing 100% of the snaps, 95% of the snaps the way the Commanders might want with a normal training camp for Terry McLaurin. And then you factor in Deebo Samuel, the other guy coming into the situation. And for the 49ers, they've always been a roster where they wanted to kind of use Deebo about 80% of the time, limit his snaps because of how physical he is as a football player. So you kind of want to have both those guys. There might be snaps early in the year where Jayden Daniels doesn't have either of his star receivers on the field.
When the Commanders traded for Deebo Samuel, I really liked the fit, the idea of Deebo being an underneath target, a yards after catch guy. Cliff Kingsbury loves to call screens. Deebo is the ultimate screen receiver. But that entire premise, in my mind, rests on having Terry McLaurin on the field so that defenses can't cheat up to the line of scrimmage and stack the box against the run. You take McLaurin out of the equation and they're not deep at all at receiver in terms of a guy who's a true second, third level threat the way McLaurin was. Noah Brown, Luke McCaffrey. And McLaurin last year was not only prolific in reaching the end zone, league-wide on throws over 10 yards, he was 5th in yards per route run, top 10 in target share. I understand that this is more about finances, and what he's asking for in his age, but I truly do not believe this Commanders offense can get anywhere close to its ceiling without him.
Yeah, Jayden Daniels has continued to say that he's had conversations with McLaurin, but he doesn't really mess with the business side of things, but has also been adamant that they need him on the field. I think everybody agrees when you're talking about the future of this team, or at least next season. All right, let's go to L.A. next, where Justin Herbert will make his first preseason start of his career. Okay, yeah, you heard that right. First, the quarterback spoke to the media yesterday after Jim Harbaugh made the announcement and explained why they're deciding for him to play.
Be able to see a pass rush and get a feel for getting the ball out and just seeing a game before you actually play in a game. I think in years past, the plan was, you know, to rest and see those reps. But I wanted to go out there and see a pass rush because, you know, in practice as a quarterback, you don't always get the true feeling of a pass rush. So I thought it'd be helpful to go out there. And I just thought this was something that could be good for me, good for the team. And so, you know, I'm not against trying it.
Yeah, it's so important for a quarterback's timing, right, to be able to feel that real time. What is Jim Harbaugh and this Chargers coaching staff looking to see from Justin Herbert specifically, though, in this start this weekend?
Well, Laura, Harbaugh wants to see Justin Herbert well protected with an offensive line that's really physical. In just 1 or 2 series, you're not going to see the starters out there very long. But guard Mekhi Becton has been out. We know Rashawn Slater's out for the year. They've been pretty banged up front. So they want those 5 to have a nice clean pocket. They want to have a physical running game. Omarion Hampton, the rookie, great opportunity for him. They've loved him all camp, but their practices aren't overly physical. He's not taking a lot of hits. So this is a chance for him to impose his will physically, which he's good at. And then Keenan Allen could really step in and be the number 2 receiver right now. So the Chargers are trying to figure out who else is going to pop here, which young player, like maybe rookie Trey Harris, is going to come in and provide a spark.
Yeah, it always nerve, I guess, inducing thing when you talk about Justin Herbert playing in a preseason game and that's followed by, but they're still missing a number of players because obviously his health is paramount for this Chargers season. I do understand the desire to get him comfortable, though, behind that reworked offensive line, to get them experience, right, with the new tackle situation. I think for LA, especially with the offensive line issues, something that's going to be really important is keeping Herbert out of 3rd and long. Last year, the Chargers were 22nd in distance to go on 3rd down. Much of that was because they were ineffective at running the ball on early downs, so obviously that's going to be a focus. I also think, though, Omarion Hampton could be a factor in the pass-catching game. The Chargers were 31st in targets to running backs last year, and Hampton was an excellent receiver at UNC, 373 receiving yards, an average of 10 yards per catch. That's another way you can stay out of 3rd and long, and if you stay out of 3rd and long, then there's less pressure on that offensive line to protect Justin Herbert.
Yeah, Mina mentioned the running game, and you want to see that not only in the preseason, but stretching into the regular season as well. And it doesn't have to be home runs from Omarion Hampton, but you want to see consistency, and you want to see the chains moving forward. They were 30th in success rate last year, which measures how often the offense stays on track, keeps on track for 1st downs, and avoids those 3rd and longs Mina was mentioning. They weren't always great in short yardage last season as well. But on that 1st and 10, I know it doesn't seem like a big difference to get 2, 3, 4 yards, but keeping on track, avoiding those obvious pass rushing situations, it's such a benefit for your offense. It keeps you in such advantageous situations, keeps the defensive ends guessing about what they can do, opens up the playbook for Greg Roman, who doesn't, frankly, have the most expansive 3rd down passing playbook. So if they can run the ball more efficiently, it's going to make everyone's life easier.
Every time Bill is on the show, he presents a stat that I have not heard of before, and we are a very stat-heavy show. I love that one, Bill. Here's another one. This is my stat, okay? The Chargers have had a 100-yard rusher just 3 times over the last 2 seasons. You see how imperative it is to get that run game going to help out Justin Herbert. All right, let's get to some top stories from around the league, starting with Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh. Some news coming down today from the NCAA. Jeremy, what more can you tell us?
Yeah, the Michigan Wolverines were hit, Laura, by the NCAA for a lack of compliance dating back to the Connor Stallion situation a few years ago. And here's how it affects the now Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh. He's got a 10-year show cause in college football. So if he were to return to the college game, the team would have to prove that they shouldn't face heavy sanctions if he's there. So with him and his age being at the Chargers, he seems very happy here. Probably not going to leave for college anytime soon. Now you got Micah Parsons, Cowboys contract situation. So I've heard the latest is there have been no substantive contract talks of late. Dallas is really just hanging on the offer they made him back in April to see what happens. So right now, Parsons, his trade request still stands, and this is a true standoff with no real signs of progress. I do know the Cowboys have 0 plans to trade Micah Parsons right now, so something has to give here. Trey Hendrickson. Now, out of all the contract disputes we're talking about, this one might have the biggest glimmer of hope, I would say. They've been talking at